So guys, while we're still waiting, you can go ahead and drop a message on Discord in your room and tell them that the class has started so that we can start immediately. Is 6:10. Okay. So it's already 6:10. I think we've waited enough so they can join later on.
Yeah.
The class is being recorded, so you can kickstart Vega.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, guys. So let me share my screen so we can just run through all of this. Okay, I believe you can see my screen. All right.
Yes, we can.
Now today we're going to talk about just 3 things. We'll talk about intersection point between Agile and Waterfall, and we'll probably look at an example if time permits. Then majorly we'll talk about user needs and user ideas, and we'll run through competitive analysis and see how a competitive analysis should be done. Okay, so because the last video we talked about, the last class we talked about waterfall, and I think before then, Agile and all of that. So we're just going to do a recap of everything. Agile methodology is and it has a couple of advantages. And because I think one of the major ones, the client is involved in the project. Okay, we carry the client along in the project, and another one, testing of each sprint is done while it's underway, and also change requests are easier to implement as the Agile method follow. Also, Agile does not spend time on extensive documentation, which eventually becomes outdated and a burden on the team. So you get more time to design and execute test cases. And also, Agile allows frequent monitoring by client. So your client is always involved in the process. Now, that's advantage as well too. One of the disadvantages is Agile is all about adaptability to frequent changes. So it requires experience. Now, I'm running through all of this because we've probably done this before in previous classes. Now, just to refresh for this class. Now, the Agile methodology does not work well if the client or the team does not understand Agile methodology and cannot keep up with the fast-paced environment. Okay, Agile is considered a risk for a team which experience, and that's perfect. Now let's move on to the waterfall methodology. Now, waterfall is, like we said before, sequential movement of the project and consists of finished phases where built and verified before moving to the next phase. Now, we're able to itemize the 5 phases we have in waterfall methodology. It requires, if the requirements of the project are well defined, the waterfall methodology would be the best to follow. So, like we said, waterfall requires a defined goal from the start. Everything is defined. Everything is done very well from the start, and follow that suit. The second one, well-documented requirements, functional specification, technical specification, and technical architecture are considered as some of the best practices in waterfall. Okay, all these things, they are more like a guiding document all through the process. So the development team sticks to what is there. It's more like an agreement. It sticks to what is in the agreement now. Now, the quality assurance team gets ample amount of time to understand the requirements and create detailed test cases. Okay, a detailed test case enables quality assurance to execute the test case correctly without any ambiguity. Okay, now the waterfall model can aid efficient knowledge transfer when team members are dispersed in different locations by investing dedicated time and effort in understanding requirements and documentation. The last one, if the system is tested after complete development and a bug is detected, the entire system needs to be rebuilt and the system team is called till the bug is fixed. Now, it has a couple of disadvantages as well too, of which the testing team often gets a lesser time frame to complete the test execution, and small time is spent during the initial stages for detailed documentation. And also there will be unexpected delays if the requirements are not clear. Okay, and the last one here, a bug identified at later stage can cost up to 60% more to get it fixed as compared to its cost when identified at the earlier stage. Now, because waterfall does not permit us to run back and forth like the agile would permit. Now, this will take us to a whole new approach for this class now. We have 2 new models. One is called the Water Scrum Fall, and the other one is the Agile Fall. Okay, 2 new models now. The Water Scrum Fall models employs the traditional waterfall approach for planning, budgeting, and documenting the project's progress. When there are enough details to begin development, the team switches to a time-bound iterative version of Scrum and product development. Now, I'll explain what all of this means sooner. Now, you can see this representation of the Water Scrum for integration. That is why we are using Scrum. Okay, using Scrum. You can see we have from the conception of the idea on the waterfall method, the requirement and specification, everything goes down through the Scrum method to the integration and testing, which that part is still the waterfall method as well too. Now, let's go through the definition again I gave here. I said water Scrum Fall method employs the traditional waterfall approach for planning, requirements gathering, budgeting, and documenting the project's progress. Okay, and I said when there are enough details to begin development, the team switches to a time-bound iterative version of Scrum. Okay, of Scrum for product development now. Whereas with Scrum, that's where we do our analysis, our design, our coding, and our testing. Okay, so this method allows us to be a little bit flexible compared to the rigid waterfall system. Allows us to be flexible to be able to tweak our waterfall system using the Scrum method. Now let's quickly run through the Agile method, the Agile Fall method. In the Agile Fall method, you don't need to wait for one phase to complete, as the name is, before starting the next phase. Okay, instead you'd rather begin the next phase as soon as you can. Okay, what this means is that you can begin development of some features of some modules or components while the planning phase is still going on. Okay, while the planning phase is still in progress. Okay, the development phase usually follows Agile Principles. Now, we already know what Agile Principles are, definitely. So you don't wait, you don't follow the normal waterfall procedures in this method. You don't stick to the waterfall procedure. Instead, this is the point of intersection. This is where waterfall meets agile. That is, we make our waterfall process flexible, that we can begin another process, we can begin another phase, we can run through another phase as against the waterfall waterfall traditional model. We can begin another phase why one is yet to be completed. Okay, we can begin another why one is yet to be completed. Like I gave an example and I said why the planning phase is still going on. We can be at development of some features or some modules that will be integrated in the product. Good. Now, conclusively now, we combine the both methodology, okay, and if we incorporate the right hybrid techniques, the entire project can be a success. Okay. Now, the most essential thing in this methodology is effective communication. Okay, having a very smooth communication between the team members. Okay, then creating an hybrid approach. Okay, now this hybrid approach should be an approach that suits the team, an approach that the team is comfortable working with. Okay, so most times you don't really have to stick to all of these traditional methodologies at all times, but sometimes you have to look at your team and create an hybrid methodology. At least you can actually borrow, or you can actually just build on these existing methodologies and tweak it to enable swift communication between your team. Okay, if your team is not comfortable working with a model, I don't think it should be used. Okay, I don't think it should be used at all. So we're quickly going to run through. We're going to run through our next phase in the class, and that is we'll be looking at user needs and user ideas. User need and user ideas. Okay, user need and user ideas, very, very important area in product management. User need and user ideas. Okay, sorry. All right, now user need and first of all, talk about user needs. Very important, very important in user needs. Now, you don't just talk about user needs. You don't just look for the doomed problem. You don't just create solutions like that for the problem. Don't just focus on the needs. Instead, what is important to look at is the user problem. The user problem, that is the statement of the problem. You have to look at the user problem, because understanding the user problem is going to ensure that we create a proper solution that is the product for the customer. Most times, a lot of startups, they end up creating products that, okay, the user might need, but at the end of the day, it's still not solving the solution for the user. So it's very, very important that we look at the user problem, and we'll be able to, from the user problem, we understand. Would even suggest, and depending on your approach, we suggest what they want, and that is what we'll call the user ideas. We'll give you exactly what they want, tell you exactly what they want, and it will definitely shaping your approach towards developing the solution for them. So one of the most important things in understanding the user problem, so as to understand the user needs, is user research. This is how you'll be able to understand your user, your audience, and from there, that's how you understand how they think, what they're facing. Now, the user research, like I said, this is simply building a deeper understanding of your users and their needs, their motivation, and the way they are using your product. Okay. And majorly the goal of user research is to get actionable or testable data that can be used in the future for another iteration or research process. Okay, it's more like a connection between you and the user. Now, we have different ways of carrying out this user research. Okay, and basically we can categorize them into two areas, and the qualitative research, the qualitative research and the quantitative research, of which the qualitative research is how we're talking about how people use the product, and the quantitative research, we're looking at um, how we can actually an individual can get one-on-one insights from the customers. So it's a very, very important area that I want us to dwell on. Okay, I want us to dwell on this. Excuse me, let me bring up something. Oh, the slide. Okay. Okay. All right. Please just give me a minute. I'm gonna put up something on my screen.
Hello guys. I think Fega is having a bit of a network issue, but he should be joining back any moment from now. So sorry about that. Oh. Okay. So Mr. Fega is back. So Fega, you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
All right. Yeah, sorry for that. So sorry. I think my network. Network. All right. Now let's continue. All right. Now we're talking about user research, and I mentioned. Let me share my screen. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Now we're talking about user research, and I define user research as building a deeper understanding of users, their needs, and their motivation, and the way they are using the product. Okay, now these product managers understand whom the product is and why it is valuable. Okay, and I said that the goal of user research is to get actionable or testable data that can be used in the future for another iteration or research purposes. Okay, now we have we can obtain data using two ways of research. That's the qualitative research and the quantitative research. Now, the purpose of the quantitative research is to tell, for example, how people use the product or how they would like to use it. Now, an example of this type of research includes surveys and analytics directly from the product. Okay, then that's for the quantitative research, talking about the quantitative research. And for this kind of research, you need quite a large data set. You need quite a large data set, and this type of research also is good for validating or invalidating the hypothesis. We'll talk about that soon. Now, on the other hand, when we talk about the qualitative research, now we're looking at a research that is good. It enables one to be able to get one-on-one insights from the customer. Sorry, I made an error. It's not it's supposed to be quantitative first before the qualitative. So The qualitative research is the one that enables us to be able to get insights from the customers. Okay, that's a typo. Now, the qualitative research can be, let's say, for example, an interview or an open-ended questionnaires where the respondent has to give an answer instead of just choosing his answer. So we can say something like from a scale of 1 to 10. Now, the qualitative research is more individualized and it is less structured. Okay, and also it gives more freedom to the respondent, that is the person researching the user, to see what he or she wants in their own words. Now, let's move on. Okay. Now we have 5 steps of this research process. Okay, a 5-step. Now the different stages they're very important, and it runs through from the objective stages, the understanding research goals, the hypothesis, the research method, the implementation, and the data synthesis. Okay, or we can say the synthesizing of data. Okay, now the first step is setting the goal for the research. Okay, here we'll be looking at why and what are the questions that need an answer, and also we'll try to determine whether a lot of data is needed at the end or just a few or important points. At this point, you can also ask yourself, okay, is there an already existing hypothesis? Okay, what data do you have already? Is there some that is there some data that is useful for your benefits? You need to understand all of this. Okay, this at the setting the goals for the research. Now, secondly, okay, if we move on to the hypothesis is just a simple area where we'll probably start thinking about what assumption needs to be true for the product to be successful. Okay, then from there we can actually choose the right research method to use. Okay, and when choosing the research method, it should be very effective in achieving the goal set for the research and suit the situation at best. Now, it is also better to choose qualitative or quantitative research method. Okay, because at this point you would choose the type of research method you're going to use, either qualitative or quantitative, and the form and the method of the research as it's determined by the goal. You choose all of this now. Now we also look at the implementation stage. This is where we conduct the research. Okay, we get real and we conduct the research. We choose the test subjects and we just carry out the research. And the last stage is where we synthesize the data. That's the data synthesis. At this point, we analyze the data that we've gathered, analyze it, and make the gained data actionable. Okay, here we'll start asking questions such as, did we validate or invalidate the hypothesis? Did we learn anything unexpected? And was the research successful? We'll gather all the answer from all these questions. Okay, the main point in research is gaining data that defines what the next step should be. It's very, very important. Now, in all of this, we started from saying user needs. User need, for you to understand user need, you first of all need to understand the user problem, because it's from the problem you know what the user needs and probably evaluate the user ideas. Okay. Now, we as product managers, you when carrying out research from trying to understand the user problem, understand the user need rather, you need to focus more on the problem. You don't just create solution instead of solving the user's problem. Don't just create solution. Okay, instead create solutions that solve users' problem. Create solutions that are targeted towards solving a problem, and also evaluate the problem that you find out, the user problem that you find out from the user's research. Evaluate the problem properly, analyze it from different perspectives, and understand the problem sampling strategy very well. Okay, this will help you in trying to create a better solution for the problem. Okay, a valuable solution for the problem. Now let's move on to a new phase, very important one. Okay, sorry. Okay, okay, we're going to be looking at competitive analysis. Competitive analysis. All right, competitive analysis. That's what we're looking at right now. Okay, so simply, what are competitive analysis? It's a very simple area now. Competitive analysis is the analysis of your competitors and how your business compares. Okay, and this is done by evaluating the strengths and weaknesses of your competition, and you can begin to formulate how to give your company an advantage. Now, it has some features, some basic features. Okay, here we look at the competitors' target customers. We look at what market share they own already. We also look at their main competitive advantage as well too. Then we look at their key products and features. Look at their key products and features, very important as well too. Then we look at the pricing as well too. Look at the pricing that they have. Now, in carrying out competitive analysis can vary depending on what you're trying. Okay, you might do a competitive analysis around a specific aspect, and maybe like a competitor's website approach, or maybe you might do a high level look at their marketing approach as a whole. But the ultimate goal is to help you understand your strength and reach your new potential customers. That's the ultimate goal for this competitive analysis. There are lots of different ways we can actually structure a competitive analysis. Okay, so we're going to look at different type of information that would help us. And most of these ones is understanding the audience, as I mentioned, knowing what market they control, their pricing, and all of this as well too. Okay, so now computer analysis matters a lot. It means a lot. Okay, if not done properly, I think it could mean bad for the business. So it means quite a lot. It means quite a lot to the business. There are ways it should be done. There are things we need to put in place for us to have an effective competitive analysis. Very well. At the end of this section, I'm going to show you a template, something you can use as a template to pass as a template for you. You can refer to it, but it's not. Don't make it a standard. This document, because this document is it's the template is it's a flexible one that you are just depending on what you're working on, depending on your kind of competition and your kind of product as well too. Okay, now we look at how to write a competitive analysis. Okay, how do you do a competitive analysis? Now, there are different ways, but let's look at it from this approach now. You can start by probably getting a sizable number of competitors. Yeah, you identify your relevant competitors to include your analysis. And you can start by searching on Google and a whole lot of other places that reflect your business. And I think the metrics to look at when you're searching for competitors, look at people that probably do the same thing you're doing or the same thing you want to get into, and people that have similar businesses as well. It could be in the same geographical region like that. So you just do that. Then another one, you create a spreadsheet. This spreadsheet could be, you can use any tool to create that. Okay, it's just documenting your findings, or creating the right metrics to look at for. Okay, it's very, very important. Then, I mean, you can also determine your competitor types. We have different kind of competitors. We have direct competitors, we have indirect competitors, we have tertiary competitors as well too. So starting with your list of competitors, you can begin your spreadsheet by categorizing each one of them as maybe a primary, a secondary competitors, and this will help you better determine how to relate to your business. Okay, like for the direct competitors or the primary competitors to your business, these are the one that does exactly the same thing, that says exactly the same similar products, same thing as you do to the same audience that you're looking at. Okay, then the indirect competitors basically are like the secondary competitors. Okay, they offer high-end or low-end version of what you do to a different audience. So probably not your kind of audience, but in a way they are still your competitors. So we have another one, the tertiary competitors, and they are probably related brands that may market to the same, that probably market to the same audience, but they don't sell the same product that you have. They're not rolling out the same thing that you're doing directly, and in a way they're not competing with you directly in any way. Okay. Now, competitors like this, tertiary competitors like this could end up becoming your partners on the long run, and you could even save them as partners on the long run. Okay, if they choose to expand their business as well too. So it's very important when you try understanding your competitor types, because it will help you save a lot of time, so you don't end up researching the wrong competitor. Okay, so now another thing you have to consider when writing a competitor analysis, you have to consider identifying your competitor's positioning. Yeah, positioning is really a very persuasive marketing tool for business, and good positioning helps you connect with a target audience and keeps them around for longer. Okay, so it also determines your brand messaging, your brand values, and your overall business strategy. Okay, so this is exactly why understanding your competitors' positioning is very important, and you can learn how to separate yourself and build a favorable reputation in your customers' eye. Okay, another thing here is that when you are different, or let's put it this way, differentiation also helps you increase your brand awareness, and it usually justify your prices, which impacts your bottom line as well too. So there are key areas you have to look at when you're determining your brand positioning and messaging and all of that. It could be from your product copy, your website copy, and your interview, a whole lot of things. Okay. Now, when you identify your competitor's position, you have to ask yourself some important questions like, what story do they express to their customer? How are they positioning their products? And what's their company description as well too? And how do they describe their unique value? Now, as also, I'm trying to run through because of the time from now. We have to determine our competitive advantage and offering. That is what we are offering. Once you understand your competitor's messaging, you take a look at their competitive advantage and their product or service, what they're offering. Okay, the vast majority of successful companies have a clear, I think they have a clear, call it a secret sauce that is compared to their competition. So you don't expect two brands to probably have the same competitive advantage. I think everybody strives to have a better advantage than the other. So you take a time to look at your competitor's services or their products and compare them to your own. Compare them to your own, or compare them to what you want to roll out, and all of this. Another thing, again, you need to outline your deliverables against theirs. Now, this part is very important. Very important. Why is this so important? This is where you outline what you're rolling out, your products. I think this is where we're drawing the template I'm going to show to you. This is where we draw it for your deliverables against that. Then the last one here, it's you conduct a SWOT analysis. Now, SWOT analysis is simply strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats. You conduct this analysis and see how it reflects your business and against theirs as well too. Now this is a template that we're going to discuss on. It's a template that we'll discuss on. Now, if you look at it now, we have things we do that they don't. These are metrics that you can use to probably have a better competitive analysis document. Now, things we do that they don't, things we do better than them, things we do equally well, things they do better than us, things they do that we don't. Okay, and you see I categorize them into three ways where, okay, the importance level of these things. Now, okay, what is it that we do that they don't, that is very important to our buyers, or that is not so important to our buyers, or that is just passive to our buyers? Okay, these are things you should look at for. What are the things that we are doing better than them, that is very important to our buyer, or that is just a bit important to our buyer? Now, take note, the buyer we're looking at here is the end user, the user of the product. Okay, now, what are the things we do equally well that these features, like the things we do very well that they do as well? Okay, what we share in common, and take note, we're doing all of this as against our competitors. So these are metrics you can use. Now, what are the things that they do better than us? So this part is very, very important, because as a product manager, these are the things you can actually review You can review if it turns out to become a very positive one. You can review and put them in your backlog. Then probably over time, you'll see if to work with your product as well, and how you'll be able to prioritize it, and probably tweak it to become a custom-made feature for your brand as well too. Now, what are the things that they do that we don't? What are the things that they do that we don't? It's very important as well too. These are things you look out for when you're researching your competitors. You research it. So they are not really, I would say that they're not really defined approach to how all these things are done. Instead, what you should look at, you look at your brand, your product you're rolling out, or the product that is in the market, and look at its impact to the buyer, look at your competition. Then I think that's a very, very, that's where creativity comes to play in, and complete empathy. That's where empathy comes to play in as well too. So we look at what is this company doing? This company that is doing the same thing I'm doing. What are they doing that I'm not doing? What am I doing better than them? What are we doing at the same level together? How can I be better than them? These are things you have to look at. That's why it's called competitive analysis. So it's not so much of a vague document. Instead, it's a relatable document, something you can actually relate to with your product or with your brand as well too. So you look at this and you draft out a document like this now. So let's say after having something like this, you could go further to look at other areas. Take note, it's not just, I mentioned earlier from the beginning of this section that it's not just about feature things you do or the brand in general. We can also look at competitive features that there's what we call competitive features, as well as the individual competitive features. Now we have the overall competitive features and we have the individual competitive features as well too. So there are some features that, maybe your brand is head-to-head with another brand, your product is head-to-head with another product, and what differentiates both products is the features they offer. So you can also look at that, carry competitive analysis on the feature. That one becomes the competitive features analysis, and look at how their feature is better than yours or yours is better than them. What are the things you do together? What are the same let's create a fictional product now. Let's say we have a product like Facebook, for instance now, or let's use Instagram. I think that's better off. A product like Instagram, for instance now, and we're trying to look at the features that we're creating now. Now, Instagram has live feed, Instagram has Reels, Instagram has, I think for people that use Instagram a lot, there are quite a lot of features. Now, imagine that we have a product that does exactly the same as Instagram, Now, we can actually look at, how is theirs better than ours, or how is ours better than them? Imagine that we're having the same feature, maybe the Reel feature, for instance. Just like Instagram has Reel, YouTube has Reel as well now. Imagine that we're comparing this product, even though they are in different areas like that now. We can actually just carry research on how we can improve on ours. That is, if we feel like theirs is better than ours, why is theirs better than ours? What do they have that we don't have? What are they doing better than we? We look at all of these things. I think this is where you start looking at the technical specification of this area. You look at the speed, security, and a whole lot of other bunch of other things to look at there. So that's for the competitive feature analysis. That is merging features to features as against your competitions. Okay, features to features. But this generally, we're talking about your product in general, your company product in general, or your brand in general. This is the way to go for the competitive analysis. So let me just do a recap of everything we've said in this class today. I think we started from talking about the merging waterfall and agile. Okay, the point of intersection between waterfall and agile, and we'll talk about we started with the water scrum fall, and we moved on to talk about the agile fall, and we said the waterfall scrum is making waterfall a bit flexible using the scrum method, that is putting waterfall in scrum. Then the agile fall method is making waterfall very, very flexible by implementing agile in it. That is, we're still using agile process, following a defined document, but still being able to carry out some other processes while some are still not completed. So that's like the agile fall methodology. And we just did a recap on the advantages and disadvantages of both agile and the waterfall. And I said that it's not enough for you to just pick one that this is what your team is going to use. Instead, you should look at your team properly and probably have a subsequent meeting with your team and look at the team's strengths and weaknesses and choose a better approach. Okay, that becomes an hybrid approach for your team. That is, you can leverage on one of these methodologies and make it flexible for your team. So it doesn't have to be strict waterfall or strict agile. And we'll move on from there to talk about user needs, user ideas, and we talked about user research. I said user needs basically can be well understood when we understand the user problem, when we understand user problem clearly. And if we pay attention to what the user is facing, the user problem very well, we'll be able to understand their need. And sometimes the user might even give us ideas on how to solve their problem. And I said the best way for us to understand user problem is to carry out user research. And I gave tips on how we can actually carry out user research and the type of research that we can actually employ, the quantitative and the qualitative, and how we're able to carry out this research and get data from the user, analyze the data and get back. Now we moved on from there and we talk about competitive analysis and how it's important to product management as well too. And we talked about how we can actually carry out competitive analysis, what is needed is in competitive analysis, and we analyze the template together and what to do, how to measure our product against another competition, and the kind of competition, how to itemize competitors, ranging from the primary, the secondary, and the tertiary competition. So I think we've said quite a lot today about these three areas in product management. So if you have any questions, I think it's the time, this point we'll have to start taking questions. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So let me get your question. Let's just run through your questions before we finish the class here. Okay, so we can actually drop our.
Okay. All right, thank you Fega so much. No, I'm here. All right. So guys, drop your questions. Ask any questions you have concerning the waterfall. I think there's a question here for you, Fega.
Okay, let me just look at it. Okay, somebody said that's from Chika, how to source large data online, if there is any site where you can actually download and then analyze data. Okay, I believe you're talking about big data. Yeah, there are quite some resources online. We can actually go to places like there are different areas depending on the kind of data you want. If it's business data, if it's for instance, now if you're looking for open for health data, you have to go to World Health Organization. They have an open data repository. If you're looking for let's say fintech banking, you can go to the World Bank open data. There are different places you can actually do that now. But most importantly, Chika, when you're looking for large data, I think you should narrow it down to that niche you're looking at. For instance, now if you're looking for you're probably looking for data in the fintech industry. Instead of looking for global data, I think you should focus more on the area you're going to be serving. If you're looking at serving Nigeria, that means your data should be capped at this terrain properly. So you'll be looking at trying to do research about these old places. I think there are a lot of business startups websites that would I think more like blogs that has lots of data on these areas very well. So if you have other questions, I think you should drop your question. I think we're running out of time already. Drop your questions. Let's just run through them once and for all.
So guys, drop your question. If you don't have any more questions, just let us know that you understand by dropping a comment in the chat so that we'll be sure that you understand. So, okay, in the meanwhile, okay, I can go ahead.
Okay, I think when we're done with this class, I'm going to share this slide and the document with you.
Okay.
So you can, for your own consumption, because most times sending out questionnaire, since you want to say something, okay, so people don't feel them when you send out questionnaire. Yeah, that's a problem. Okay, so recently, I consulted for a brand recently that, okay, I think they were trying to roll out a product in an area, not Lagos, somewhere outside Lagos, and they went there and they were asking people to fill to I think they went to a mall in a remote area, not like a big place like Lagos, and they were asking people to come and fill a form on Google, on a Google form online, fill a form online. So I think I had an issue with that. Like, how do you go to a place that is not so versed with technology, and you ask them to come fill something online? Where this and the way the country is right now, people are very conscious of their information online because they don't understand. So they're just trying to be very, very secure. So most of them were saying, no, they can't do that. They can't touch your phone. Don't touch my phone, blah, 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 and everything. Now, in times like that now, it's that place, you don't send questionnaire to these people. You guide them on how to fill it because you are the one that needs the data. You guide them on how to fill it now. I think the questionnaire you mean here now, probably talking about an online questionnaire, online form, asking people to fill an online form. That is why you need to work with people that would really fill the online form, basically. Now, there are a whole lot of there are a lot of resources out there that would help you carry out effective survey. And most of them, I think we have paid ones like this, where you just need to pay a fee and they will help you carry out effective survey. They have a data bank of people using this area or people interested in this area. So they would sample your survey to these people and have them return data for you very well. So except probably you're looking at just people around you. But most times, I think it's also okay to try the traditional method, that is trying to go around or pay an agency that would help you do that and get raw data rather than just relying fully on the digital approach. Although the digital approach saves time and everything, but depending on the product you're rolling out, if the product is a product where you can actually reach out to people within your vicinity, and you can do it. There are agencies that would handle that as well too, that can help you do that. Okay, somebody said, do you have names? Okay, sorry, Chika. Okay, I guess what you're talking about is if I have names of places where you can actually, I think I can't remember a name, but I'll drop it on a group, or I'll drop it on a group. That would be better, so it will be beneficial to everybody. I'll drop some of these guides on how to tools you can actually use. Let's say I'll draft out something like that. Tools you can use for research. Okay, someone said, is it possible to have product that has no competition, like you are the one introducing the market? Of course, it's very possible. Now, take note, every product you see today started from one. That is, that area, somebody started that area, and some other persons looked at it and they decided to improve on the process Now, I think let's look at an example. Something like Paystack. Like Paystack, when Paystack came in, I think Paystack is not the first in payments a platform in Nigeria. I think InterSwitch has always been there from time memorial. InterSwitch has been there, but they came in the right time and everything. And SolarWay saw that and they improved on it. So it is okay for you to have an idea that nobody has. I think that makes the work. It makes the work easier in a way, and it makes the work difficult in a way. Now, how is the work easier? The work becomes easier because you don't really get to bother too much about competition. But then you have to keep your game tight. You have to make sure you're rolling out the best MVP. You have to make sure you're solving value, because if you're not, some other competition might just get an idea from what you're doing and improve on what you're rolling out. So before you attain stability, they are already competing with you. So when you're coming out with something new, you have to make sure you are aimed at solving the problem very well. Okay, Chika said drop it too. Yeah, I will drop it too. I'll just create a document and send it so you can actually see tools you can use for research and all of that. All right, thank you everyone. Thank you, Amaka. Thank you everyone for, I think, already 1 hour in this class.
All right, so thank you so much for coming on this call, Mr. Fega. So guys, no problem. He will be dropping the material on the Discord server. So you get it from there under your class resources. So thank you once again, Fega. Thank you, everybody. Would have to leave now.
All right.
Good night, everybody. Bye.
All right. Good night. Bye.
Okay.